Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Halo Effect. As usual, I am your host, Robert Lockhart. We actually have a very special edition today. My dad is actually joining us.
Hi.
His name is Lou. Everyone, this is the man who's basically responsible for my love of baseball so much. It's one of the biggest things we bonded over when I was growing up. So, let's see, what do we got today? Oh, holy crap, the Angels actually took another series, this time from the World Champs, if you could believe that, in Arlington, Texas, which was outstanding in my mind. Last night's game, not so much. That was an embarrassment. I mean, how many opportunities do they have? 18 opportunities to knock runs in?
They did, and, you know, they, for the most part, didn't come through on them. But I thought that 12th inning, they got hosed because they did have, with the ghost runner, all three outs that inning were well-hit balls.
Well-hit balls, unfortunately, very well defended.
Right.
But I mean, 18 chances to score runs,
Yes,
and you don't do
true.
and you don't do it once. The only reason they got 2 runs was 2 solo home runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that just screams we need help. But hey, we still took 2 out of 3. That's still a good thing.
This is good. You know, the thing we were talking about earlier is the Angels are, their record is not good.
No.
But it's not that they're that bad of a team. They're almost okay, but just always almost.
Yeah.
And that doesn't, almost, it
Yeah.
means you lost.
Yeah, almost okay is not going to cut it. One of the other things I know you mentioned is, without Rendon or without Trout, they have no heart of the lineup. Well, and like I said, I countered with that, saying actually they have the guys necessary to have the heart of the lineup. They just need to come through. That's the biggest challenge right now, is them coming through. I mean, we have 5 guys right now. I mean, going into the season, we only had 4. One was still suspect. We always had Moniak, we always had Neto, Shanuel, and Ohapi were the 4 main guys. This year, Adele's kind of finally come on.
This is true.
And but they have these guys. They could have a major heart of the lineup. All they have to do is start coming through. Now, again, Adele's the big question mark. Is this the real Joe Adele, or are we seeing just a massive, firing range going on right now with him? And all of a sudden, the clip's going to empty. So.
You're true. This is right. But the Angels have always seemed to spin their wheels. We were talking about earlier about how if the Angels have a 1-0 lead, you always get the feeling they're just waiting to be had. Mm-hmm. And today's game was kind of the opposite of that. The Rangers had that 1-0 lead, and by waiting, the Angels actually came through and got them. So they kind of played a reverse game to what they've been doing all season long.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was also said that Texas's bullpen has a tendency to give up a lot of games as well. Their former closer in Leclerc has been one of the worst, actually, for them, and he's given up way too many games. Yeah. But if you take a look at the Angels' bullpen, I mean, Estevez has given up games, Cisneros has given up games, Garcia's given up games. I mean, even Matt Moore, who's one of the most trusted relievers from the left side, has given up 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And I mean, we both know he's better than that. But again, one of the things I've been saying all season is guys like Garcia and Cisneros, these guys have had career 5+ ERAs. And if you go back to previous seasons, Garcia's never had one better than like 390 or something like that. Yeah. That's like been his best. Cisneros had one good season with the Tigers. When he first came to the Tigers, he had like a 108 ERA, which is exceptional, especially coming out of the bullpen. But then he jacked it back up to like a 5.62 or something like that last year, and now this year he's not doing much better. And the Angels took a shot on this guy for what reason, I don't know. I don't get it. It's the only thing that really kind of comes to mind is the one thing everyone always says, well, he throws the ball hard. Sure, but where's the movement on the ball? He can throw it hard, it stays flat.
Where's the results? If you throw the ball hard, but your ERA is over 5,
Yeah.
that's not worth it.
Yeah, it really isn't. It never really has been. And for the most part, yeah, I've always still kind of questioned it. I always have. And it just gets to that point, like, you're almost waiting for the complete fallout of these guys. I mean, Cisneros on the on the IL right now. Garcia's been doing a little bit better here and there, but don't forget he gave up the 1 run yesterday that tied the game in the 9th.
Well, today, he got the save.
He got the save today.
But that he came in the 8th, and the first thing he does is give up a base hit.
Mm-hmm.
But they held the runner at 3rd, and then I can't remember who the Rangers hitter was. He just got under and hit a fly ball to Moniak with the bases loaded, 2 out.
Yeah,
and so he got out of that one. Then the 9th inning, the first guy hit a weak grounder, but then you had a solid base hit to right, and the next guy hit the ball hard, but Rengifo got turned that double play,
Yeah.
and the game was over. So did Garcia pitch really well? But he was hit hard by 3 of the 5 batters he faced.
Yeah. Well, in this particular case, Guillermo actually came in as a defensive replacement at second base.
Oh,
he turned the double play.
I'm sorry.
For the most part, he was helped out by some seriously good defense today, and the defensive replacement, putting Guillermo in there and pulling Rengifo out was probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Rengifo.
Let's give Ron Washington some credit on.
Oh yeah, no, I've never questioned Ron Washington as the manager for the Angels. Never questioned him once, minus some of his scouting results that he's done, because he's the one who brought in Luis Garcia and Jose Cisnero, and kind of question why. But again, it's neither here nor there. Luckily, it's only 1-year deals. These guys are gone at the end of the year. But for the most part, I mean, if you take a look at the last few series that the Angels have had since the beginning of this month, they actually won a series against Pittsburgh. Then they go to Cincinnati, get swept.
Yeah.
They come back home. They lose 3 out of 4 to Kansas City and lose 2 out of 3 to St. Louis. Yeah. St. Louis should have been one that they should have won, because St. Louis has been having their own issues. Why, I don't know. They still have an incredible team. It really makes no sense to me.
Well, like you say, the Angels their record is what, 18 now? 18 wins and 29 losses?
I think so, yeah.
But that doesn't sound like a very good record, but they're a better team than that, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just that there's a lot of games that they've been in that they just haven't been able to finish and close it.
Yeah. And to be honest, not including this game or game 1 against Texas, for the most part all season long, their team batting average is just not great. The team batting average, I think, is like close to 250 now. Yeah. Right now. That's not bad. It's among...
What is it with runners in scoring position?
As far as I know, with runners in scoring position, it's still in the 230s.
Yeah.
Probably worse by now, especially with last night's game.
One of the things that I do like about the Angels is, despite an 18 and 29 record, they don't seem to be giving up. They're trying hard. They're diving for balls. They're hustling, and I don't see any lack of desire.
No, of course not. There's no lack of desire in this particular sense. With this team, I mean, it's still only May.
Yes.
There's a lot of baseball left to be played. We still have the All-Star game coming up. There's still, the MLB draft, what's going to happen with the next group of young players coming in, the trade deadlines. At this point in time, the Angels got a lot of things working, and it can still go either way. But the thing is, they need to hit, and they need to hit with runners in scoring position. That's been a huge problem for them this year. And, of course, that's a reflection on the hitting coach.
Right.
He hasn't been doing his job. Yeah, and I've said many times, Johnny Washington was always kind of, okay, let's see what happens, kind of thing for me.
It's I don't know. It seems a little bit to me like when, because of the fact that they haven't been hitting with runners in scoring position, they put extra pressure on themselves. And when you put extra pressure on yourself, then you just it snowballs in a bad way.
That is possible too. A lot of times.
But hitting, good hitting or bad hitting, is contagious. Mm-hmm. And if somebody gets hot and they start getting on, what do they have? A 2-game winning streak, and then they lost. If they'd have won last night, that would have been 3. They'd have a 4-game winning streak right now. And streaks tend to lift your spirits, and maybe you get on a nice little roll, and things all turn around.
Yeah, team morale could very well be it. Yeah.
So that's something that could happen. You just get some good things going, get some good feelings, and it gets contagious.
Yeah, well, the next stop is Houston.
That's
always been.
Okay, so an opportunity to beat a good team.
There you go, another opportunity right there. It's always been a bit of a thorn in their side.
Could you imagine coming back home, taking 2 out of 3 from the Rangers and 2 out of 3 from the Astros?
I can imagine it. Yes,
I think there'd be a pretty good feeling on that flight home.
Oh yeah, it definitely would be. And then coming home to start with another 3-game series. I can't remember exactly against who.
I think you said the Guardians.
No, it wasn't Cleveland.
Yeah, well. Okay.
No, it's not Cleveland. That's throwing me off a little. Whoever it might be at this point, it could actually go well. I know after that it's going to be the Yankees, and we all know how good they've been this year, especially with the addition of Juan Soto. I mean, just that one addition alone has been massively huge for them.
The Angel pitching lately, the starting pitching has been very good.
The last 3 games, absolutely.
And when the starters do well and go 7 innings, that takes a lot of strain off the bullpen. Mm-hmm. And if the bullpen then kind of recoups and then they do good, now you've got starters doing good and the bullpen doing good. So that means the other team's not scoring that much. All we got to do is get those hitters going.
Right. Okay, and that would be a reflection on Barry Enright doing his job.
Yeah.
He's got the starters now kind of in their groove, working well. Let's see. Yeah, because Tyler Anderson had a fantastic game in Game 1. I got to admit, I was thrilled with Patrick Sandoval last night.
I was too.
He did an incredible job.
Yeah.
It sucks he didn't get the win. It really bites he didn't get the win. Then Soriano comes in and is just like, Jesus, who the hell is this?
He was pretty lights out today, except for one pitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one bad pitch that Corey Seager just absolutely unloaded.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But, for the most part, Soriano did great today.
Yes.
All three games, Anderson, Soriano, and Sandoval, all 3 did fantastic.
Yeah. So they're going into Houston with a rusted bullpen.
With a rested bullpen from today, all 3. Let's see, the 3 starters going into.
I think you said Canning and.
Yeah, Canning, I believe, is pitching. I think he's pitching tomorrow.
Oh, Detmers, Canning.
Yeah, Detmers and Anderson again.
And Anderson again.
So Detmers, who's been struggling, still has amazing stuff, but has been struggling.
Canning pitched really good his last
last game. Holy crap, was that a good game?
Yeah.
He really pitched well. Again, I don't think he got the win, did he?
No.
He didn't get the win. Yeah.
No.
So I think
typical Angel game.
Got a no decision, unfortunately. He deserved to win.
Yes.
very, very much deserved to win. And then, of course, Anderson would be the
well,
third game.
You know what I saw today? Patrick Sandoval got a hard luck no decision
last
he did. Night, where he deserved to get a W.
Yes, he did. Absolutely.
But guess what? Today after the game, I saw the camera in the dugout. He was the first to salute Soriano, and he was genuinely happy for.
Right. That's Sandoval. He's he's a major team player.
Yeah.
He wants to win as much as anybody else, and he's there to encourage the other guys, to help the other guys, wherever he can. and as well as doing his best to contribute in his own way. And with whatever he's been doing, he's been looking great.
Yeah.
The last 3 games, at the very least, from what I read, just in May alone, he's had a major turnaround.
I see that good camaraderie in the dugout, and it's just, I'd rather see the camaraderie rather than consoling each other for a loss than being happy and congratulating each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they're just, if they could get to that point, that same camaraderie, it's just for a different.
Yeah, exactly. And for these things to happen, the players are doing their part. They're trying their hardest. They're playing their hearts out. The coaching needs to come through. I do like what Ron Washington has done all season long. I like the fact that Barry Enright's finally getting the starters really working hard.
So it comes down to the hitting coach.
Pretty much. Like I said, I've never really had that much faith in Johnny Washington. I mean, again, if you take a look at what he did with the Padres in 2017, 2018, 2019, terrible hitting team. They were a horrible hitting team. If you take a look at the stats, the only one that has decent stats is Fernando Tatis in 2019 with a .313 batting average. If I remember correctly, I believe he was hurt that year. He missed like half the season because of an injury.
Yeah, you would know more about that than I would.
Oh, well, anyway. That's the individual averages, the team batting averages with runners in scoring position. Johnny Washington just didn't do well for the Padres, and that really made me worried when he was hired to be the hitting coach for the Angels. They say he did really good last year with the Cubs as an assistant hitting coach. The Cubs are still doing well. That's thanks to their regular hitting coach, that's Dustin Kelly. He comes to the Angels, and the Angels, like I said, the core 4 guys have taken steps backward. Shawnee will take a major step backward. Ohapi was sky high, and now he's kind of come down major. Neto's starting to put things together a little bit. Moniak took a huge step backwards.
Yeah.
A huge step backwards. That's not good.
Yeah, he's the guy I really root for. I really want to see
me
him.
Too.
I'm praying that he does good.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, I think I told you this earlier. Is last year? I mean, he may have had a .280 average last year, which is great. That's a fantastic season, especially for someone like him.
And he was a deep ball threat too.
Yes, he was. He's always a deep ball threat. He's a guy. I think he's probably a 20 to 25 a year. I would say. But if you remember, it's like from center to right was his range. And one thing that I've told you, one thing I've said here many times has been, I want to see him go to left field more. Go the opposite direction. And until then, he's just got to revert back to being what he was in Philadelphia, and that's not a good thing.
No, that won't make it.
And if you notice, he's starting to get pitched out on the outside part of the plate, so he's popping it up, he's dribbling on the ground, or he's striking out.
Right. Well, today he did get that hit. It wasn't a pretty hit.
I wouldn't have called it a screamer by any stretch.
but I mean, it was a hit and an RBI, and so maybe he'll say, maybe it's worth it to try to go out.
Well, many people believe that that's basically a floodgate opening, and from there on out, it could be the start of something big, getting him back into the fold.
Right.
But again, the Angels, they have what it takes to be really good. They just really need to bring it all together, and that really happens with coaching.
Okay, so what do you think? Because you mentioned earlier the draft is going to be coming up.
Mm-hmm.
You can't draft coaches.
Well, no, of course not. You can hire them.
So they got to address that hitting coach thing. But what should we be looking to get in a draft as far as players?
Well,
hitters, pitchers.
Well, in this particular sense, I have advocated for pitching since 2017, as we've missed out on some great pitchers. Grant you, 1 or 2 of them is on the shelf right now. Because the guy I wanted in 2017 was Shane Boz. He's recovering from Tommy John surgery. He'll be back later this year, probably July would be my guess. But it's he's still coming off Tommy John surgery. He's got to shake off the rust. But if you remember going into his debut, that guy was incredible. I mean, he was effortlessly throwing 100 miles an hour, triple digits, easy gas. His slider has nasty bite to it. He has a changeup that literally will just have the floor pulled out from under it. It just drops right down right before the strike zone. Where'd it go?
They used to say it fell off the table.
Fell off the table, yeah. That's the going expression. But
okay, quick question then.
Okay.
With the starters on a roll that they've been lately, our starting pitching is okay. I know one of the things that you have mentioned to me in the past is, yes, we have, if even if our starting pitcher is good like it is now, there isn't that ace on the staff. Yeah. And so do you think it would be more important to go for a guy who could be an ace on the staff, or if you're going after pitching, going after relief pitching?
In this upcoming draft, there's not really many starters that you can consider really a number one. Chase Burns comes to mind out of Wake Forest. They say he's got a lot of reliever risk because his control is off. But if he can have much better control, then yeah, he could be. I can see him being a really good second round pickup, basically a steal in the second round if he falls that far.
Yeah.
But he does have those control issues. Now, from what I understand, he has been a little bit better this year. He's been finding the strike zone a lot more. He's got a gnarly fastball. He averages 97, 98 on his fastball.
Maybe there's a guy to keep an eye on.
Yeah, he definitely is. From what I understand, one of the recent mock drafts that Callis has, he has the Angels taking Chase Burns at number 8. Jonathan Mayo has them taking a young middle infielder named J.J. Weatherholt, who's actually the best hitter in the draft. His hitting ability, they say, is right up there with Nolan Shannywell's was last year. And like I said, he spent only 40 days in the minors before he made his big league debut.
Whoa.
That doesn't happen often.
No.
Very, very few times has that ever really happened. Chris Sale was one. Like he maybe spent a total of 2 weeks in the minor leagues before he made his major league debut. And of course, Chris Sale became Chris Sale. He's like one of the better pitchers in the game. I know this is a long time ago, and my memory's still kind of fuzzy on it. I don't think Ken Griffey Jr. spent that much time in the minors either.
Bob, I go back to Willie Mays.
Yeah.
I don't think he spent any time in the minors. They just said, put this guy in the lineup.
Yeah, there really wasn't a major minor league system back then.
Yeah.
Like you got signed, you spent a little time in like an instructional league kind of thing, and then you got the call to the big time and all that. It's as far as
I don't think Ken Griffey spent a whole lot of time wallowing in the minors.
Yeah, no. So I mean, it happens, but it doesn't happen often.
Okay, so pitching is what we should focus on in this draft.
No. In this draft, I would go with the number 1 in the first round with their number 8 overall pick. I would actually see if I can get Weatherholt. If Weatherholt's available, I would go for him, because I would like to see someone with his great hitting ability being able to get on base more often. I mean, I like the fact Rengifo is hitting well, but also is going to get to a point where he goes through hot streaks. He goes up and down. He'll have his streaks, and then he'll kind of fall flat at times. But I mean, it's not saying Weatherholt wouldn't either. But
Grifo seems like he's finally got the confidence that he belongs on the big league level.
Confidence at the plate, but not so much in the field. His defense still suffers pretty bad. But for the most part, when it comes to this draft, I would really more see if I can get a decent hitter. in the first round, and then focus on pitching in the later rounds. Like I said, Chase Burns, you might be able to get in the second round on a whim. He may fall that far only because of that reliever risk that they say, because of his control problems. But I mean, you got a lot of decent players in this draft that you can get rounds 1 through 4 and really kind of pack the minor league system, especially for the Angels, who have the worst.
Yeah. So getting back then to the coaching needs, I know I don't even know if I should talk about this here, but I guess why not? This is what this is for, right?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. You were talking to me the other night about 2 guys who the Angels already have in their system that would step in, that would be marvelous hitting coaches if that's what they want to do at this point in time. Number 1 would be Albert Pujols.
Yeah, who speaks for itself.
Right.
And Albert Pujols just recently retired, and most recent retirees like to enjoy their time off for a while before they get into a coaching role, if that's what they want to do.
And Albert Pujols would be more inclined to go into management than he would be go into hitting.
He's already managing in the Dominican Winter Leagues.
Okay.
And from what I understand, he's done quite well.
Okay, well, what a surprise.
Yeah, geez, shocking with his baseball
IQ. And the other guy is a guy who's maybe his stature isn't like Albert Pujols, but I think he is Torrey Hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
Torrey Hunter was a great hitter and a great clubhouse presence.
Yeah, and that's someone I've mentioned on here before, too. Torrey Hunter, he may not be a Hall of Famer, but he was a really good hitter. He was a great ball player.
And confident as could be, and always a smile on his face. You would think just that alone would impart good spirits for the...
Absolutely.
And I'm sure he has some good tips to give him.
Yeah, and we've talked about wanting Moniak to go to left field more often. Torrey Hunter was one of the best I've seen go the opposite way. He hit a ton of balls to right field.
So what are we going to do to get the Angels to start thinking that way?
Hopefully they already are.
Yes.
It's like, well, hopefully they're already thinking, okay, Johnny Washington's not cutting it. We got to think of something else. So, but yeah, I'm hoping that they look in Torrey Hunter's direction. Torrey Hunter, I think, would be amazing.
I think you would too.
And if that's what he wants to do, I can't imagine he wouldn't. Torrey Hunter loves doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
well, you'd always you can't miss with adding a guy like Torrey Hunter into your system.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's already in the front office staff.
Yeah.
Ron Washington originally wanted him as the first base coach. Before Bo Porter. Torrey Hunter respectively declined because he was still having to do stuff at home. There was still some stuff with his side business, with his businesses that he needed to take care of, and that's before all this is before he actually joined the Angels front office. As a special assistant to Manazian, much like Pujols is.
Okay.
But again, there's no saying that you can't get a guy like him to really kind of take the reins as the hitting coach to, really get these guys to wake up.
That would be interesting to see.
It absolutely,
very much.
It absolutely would. And I believe we're gonna end it there. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time. Until then, go Halos.